Am I the a-hole? I, 39 female, lied to my brother, 41 male, about my financial situation because I don't want to help him. My husband, 41 male, is a farmer while my brother works in IT. He and his wife, 41 female, always talk about his cute little farm and have never visited it or asked further questions about it. It's not exactly a cute little farm. It's rather two separate larger businesses with several employees which he manages, and in which he also both works manually to get a break from paperwork he hates. There are also properties he is renting out. I never talked or explained any of that to my brother. He never asked, and both he and his wife have made several comments that showed he is looking down on my husband. Never to my husband's face though, if it helps. I am also cautious around my sister-in-law who has a bit of a spending problem, and my brother who always enables her. If you look from the outside, we seem like a normal middle-class couple. There is nothing fancy about our cars, home, or activities. So, things went to a head last year for the first time, got resolved, and are bad again now. My brother and his wife own a home and have a kid, 4 female. Due to excessive spending, like 2 new cars per year, 5 vacations in star resorts each year, etc., they are financially in trouble. My brother asked me if I could help with the utilities or the mortgage, and told me he might lose his home. I lied and told him I wouldn't be able to. Mostly because of their comments about my husband, I didn't and don't want to help. Also, part of me thinks that if they sold their still brand new cars and would buy used ones instead, or even stop the constant vacations, there wouldn't be any problems at all, due to the amount he is asking for. I feel like an a-hole though, as A, it's not my place to judge where they put their money, and B, we could pay off their home and cars and it wouldn't even put a dent in our financial situation. But I still don't want to. So am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. My brother and his wife own a home and have a kid, 4 female. Due to excessive spending, 2 new cars per year, 5 vacations in star resorts each year, etc., they are financially in trouble. That's another reason not to help them. What makes you think they wouldn't just spend the money and come back asking for more? Not the a-hole. I'm actually sure they wouldn't change any of that. Just the way they talk about it being a necessity, while looking down on a lot of people. No one is entitled to your money. Tell them it's not in your budget, and that's it. Not the a-hole. I just realized how brilliantly simple this line is. Of course it is not in my budget. I don't have any budget allocations for brother's mortgage, or brother's 2 cars per year, or brother's vacations. So, it is not in my budget is always true. Not the a-hole. But rather than say I can't help you, I would feel very comfortable putting that back on them. How do you expect us to help when we just have a nice little farm? Didn't you take a really expensive vacation recently? Not the a-hole for not helping, but if you don't ever call them on their behavior, then the behavior won't change. Yes, probably. But every hint of criticism has been met with heavy pounding and blowouts, etc. It's just not worth the fight. We live on opposing ends of the country and only meet face-to-face during holidays. So I always thought that would not be worth the trouble. Not the a-hole. Even if you can't afford to loan money, it's a bad idea. I doubt it would be alone. His wife gives the impression that spending money is an Olympic routine she is competing in. In the past, there have been several minor instances where we paid for smaller items and they always forget to repay or chip in, etc. Even when we were invited to a restaurant, we ended up paying because they had an emergency / forget their wallet, etc. Yeah, I wouldn't enable this nonsense. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my parents they have to move out? I, 30 female, and my husband, 32 male, own our home. We bought it about 3 years ago, and it is our first home. We love our house. We are both introverted, and I have very bad anxiety, so having a nice peaceful home is an absolute must. We both work hectic jobs and I work nights, so our schedules can be very stressful sometimes and our home is our only chill space. We also have a daughter who is in school. About a year and a half ago, we asked my parents to move in with us. They were wanting to relocate and we were needing help with our daughter on the days she was not in school. The arrangement made was supposed to be that they would stay with us about 6 months while they found a place to live, and would watch our daughter when she was out of school in return. We were also promised that they would help contribute to groceries and bills and other household needs. This was all discussed in full before they moved in. Well, that was 1.5 years ago now. For the first 4 months, everything was going great. We all got along, they helped out, they respected our home, and it was really nice having them around. However, starting month 5 to 1.5 years, things have went downhill at a rapid rate. They do not help with anything around the house. Cleaning, dishes, bills, groceries, nothing. They also create chaos. My mom doesn't work and is home all day every day. Still, she will not watch our daughter, so we had to find another babysitter. When my dad is home, they sleep all day, and then are up all hours of the night cooking food for themselves, doing their laundry, taking showers, etc. They make so much noise that they end up waking our daughter up multiple times a night. We have had multiple conversations about them needing to find their own place, but they just ignore it or start yelling. Everything has gotten to a point where I am constantly anxious, having panic attacks, fighting a lot with my husband, and having to clean up after them like teenagers. It all came to a head on Thanksgiving, when my daughter asked a question and my mom started yelling at her. My husband got very mad and told them they need to move out and do it soon. My husband and I had been talking about 2 days prior about me finding a way to tell them to move out after the holidays. But after everything that happened that night, it all unfortunately came out on Thanksgiving. I think my parents expected me to go against my husband and tell them they can stay, but I stand with my husband. Our lives have been a mess for the past 1.5 years, and most problems have been rooted in stuff they did. I told them they have to move out and soon. So, am I the a-hole? I forgot to clarify that they are both in their mid-50s and of sound mind and body. Not the a-hole. They can have their own place to be as loud as they want, or they have to respect your agreement and boundaries. It's hard with parents, but at a certain age, the roles reverse. Actually, it happens over time, but you get the point. Sounds like you are at the beginning of the phase. Top comment is right though. They either have to respect you or leave. Not that elders don't deserve any kind of care, respect, or anything like that, but age doesn't give you permission for not respecting the boundaries of others, especially not when it can be so exhausting, like for OP. Not the a-hole for supporting your husband. A bit the a-hole for letting it go on this long. I let it go on this long because I didn't want to ruin the relationship with my parents. I can see how I am the a-hole though, because it caused a lot of stress on my marriage, and my husband doesn't deserve that at all. I believe you have the best of intentions, but what you're putting your own family through for the sake of your parents is quite unfair. I hope you get them out before this permanently damages your marriage. I totally agree. It is very unfair. My husband and daughter are my life, and no one comes before them. It took me way longer to open my eyes to what was going on than it should have. I swept issues under the rug to save myself stress, but in return, I put stress on my marriage and my husband and daughter. I am very aware of all of this now, and I'm trying to make sure my husband and daughter are not going to be put under any more stress from all of this. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not comforting my wife after my daughter told her she's not her mom? I have 3 children, 15, 11, and 3. My 35 partner, 28, and I have been together for 10 years. We have 50-50 custody of the 2 eldest. Nearly 4 years ago, we had a rough patch and a one-night stand is what led to my youngest being born. We've got full custody, but my wife is all she knows as her mother. All children call my wife their mom. She's a great parent. She got the eldest into gymnastics and swimming. She does their homework with them, and they're really close. It's nice to see. It's hard to explain exactly how she's a good parent. She just is. We found out we were expecting 8 months ago, and this caused our youngest to start acting out. Nursery teachers told us it was completely normal for young children to regress when big news happens. 7 months into our pregnancy, we lost the baby. It upsets me, but it's completely devastated my wife. She acts like everything's normal, but she's crying herself to sleep. I don't have the emotional bandwidth anymore. I'm exhausted. We just lost a child, not just her. I'd been trying to get ready for work while my wife got the youngest ready, and I guess we were having a rough morning because I heard my youngest tell my wife, "You're not my mom. You don't love me?" Obviously not exact wordings. It's not the first time she's told my wife this. We don't even know how the youngest knows this. I went to work, and when I came back, the eldest told us that my wife dropped the youngest off at nursery and then locked herself in our room, and apparently had been crying for a few hours then left. I messaged her and got told, "Thanks for helping me this morning. I'm staying at my mother's. I'm not in the mood to help with your child at the moment since you don't help me or tell her I'm her mother." Youngest deserves to know her background. We've tried to explain to her stepmother, etc., but she's young. She'll understand when she's older. I explained that I had work. She's handled it before, but I've been left on red. I apologized. Didn't realize she was so unhappy, but said that at the end of the day, youngest lost her sibling too, and it's been a difficult transition. We're looking into family counseling. I did say I'd appreciate her not having eldest witness her being this upset next time, as she's still a child. If I've left any info out, so I'll answer. Hands are greasy and it's hard to type. It was a casual morning. She usually handles getting them ready, and we've had issues like this before that she's handled. Honestly, sometimes hearing things like this has become white noise now, because I know my wife can handle it when I've got to work. Edit. The reason I say not to be as upset in front of my eldest is because eldest went to her biological mom and told her she was worried about her mom, my wife, which I don't think is fair. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Downplaying your cheating, and downplaying your wife's trauma, and blaming her for not being entirely composed after she had a late-term miscarriage? Have you always been so selfish and neglectful? Your wife is so obviously struggling with a serious depressive crisis, and you're just completely neglecting that. I'm wondering at all your other delightful behaviors. You're the a-hole. That's not even considered a late-term miscarriage. At that point, it's considered a stillbirth. She would have still had to give birth, which just adds more trauma. You're the a-hole. You had to work, and you don't appreciate having your eldest witness her being upset? You have got a lot of gall. She is raising your affair baby. She has lost her bio child, and your affair baby screaming at her about not being her mom and she doesn't love her. And the best excuse you can come up with is you had to work. And it's happened before, so no big deal? I noticed you used the phrase, I guess we were having a rough morning. Nah, dude, you were having a fine morning, while your wife is getting screamed at by your affair baby. And you don't appreciate your eldest witnessing her be upset? Why not? Being upset after an emotionally trying day is completely normal. Maybe instead of lecturing her via text, you should ask what you could do to help. You should hope your wife forgives you. You should beg for forgiveness, because you don't sound like a very nice partner with the affair baby and telling your wife how she's allowed to act. Edit. Holy smokes. I just saw the comment about how y'all were only separated for a month when you got another woman pregnant. How in the hell did you manage to find this absolute saint of a woman and keep her this long? You may have lost her this time, and if so, you have only yourself to blame. It's not the children's responsibility to bear witness to their parents' moods. It's not their responsibility to be stressed about how their parent feels. And I'm sorry, I grew up in a household with a depressed dad, and I feel very strongly about my children not seeing that. And you don't appreciate your eldest witnessing her be upset? Why not? It's self-preservation, nothing more. He doesn't want his kids to realize what kind of trashy father they have, and all their problems in the family was brought home by him. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not giving anyone my earrings in my will? Context. When I was young, I was given a pair of handmade gold earrings from my grandmother. She died when I was 12. I still wear them to this day. So I, 30 female, have cancer. It's one of the most survivable ones, so I'm trying not to be too worried. To be on the safe side though, I decided I would update my will just in case something were to happen. I left the house to my husband, 30 male, and divided my money 3 ways to go to him, my daughter, 5 female, and my sister, 29 female. However, when my sister found my will, she was livid. That was because I had said that if I were to die, I would like to be buried with my earrings as they are very special to me. My sister said that she should get the earrings after I die to be close to me. I don't want to give it to her though. It was given to me as a gift and holds sentimental value. I even got my ears pierced again so that I wouldn't have to swap out the earrings. I told her that it was mine and she wouldn't get it, to which she ran to our mom. My mom is telling me to give it to her while I'm still alive, since my sister is already scared for me and doesn't need the stress. I don't want to, but I'm wondering if I'm the a-hole if I told her no. Am I? Added to clear some stuff up. 1. The earrings are not heirlooms. They were a gift made solely for me. 2. My sister did not like my grandmother. She even refused a necklace our grandma got her because she thought it was too ugly. 3. My daughter has many other earrings, necklaces, rings, and other jewelry I'm getting for her. 4. I'm thinking about finishing the other half-finished set and giving it to my daughter, but it's really expensive, so I'm not sure. 5. I have thyroid cancer, but luckily it was caught early, and I'm undergoing treatment, so please don't worry. Edit number 2. 1. My sister went snooping and found my will in my office. I was leaving her only $20,000 if I were to pass. 2. My daughter has way more money than my sister. She'll get $1.3 million after my death. I made it so that she wouldn't get the money too young and live a normal life. 3. My husband has a very good job. It makes $200,000 a year, so I'm not worried he won't be able to manage. 4. I am seriously considering removing my sister completely after her BS. 5. I don't talk to my daughter much about my cancer because I don't want her to think of me as sick. So we try to fill up her life with happy memories. 6. Again, my earrings are not heirlooms. They were made for me and me alone. 7. The house is going to my daughter. If me and my husband were to die, she'll be inheriting the house as soon as she turns 21. Your mom thinks it's more important to accommodate your sister than to respect the wishes of her possibly dying daughter? I would remove my sister from my will altogether if she pulled something like this. Our relationship would be permanently damaged, not the a-hole. Edit, I don't get all the people telling Opie it's a waste to be buried with the earrings. Where's your empathy? She's a young woman who is dealing with the possibility of dying. That's horrendous. She's trying to cope with it, and it doesn't matter that it seems irrational to us. If planning on being buried with them brings her even a hint of comfort, it isn't a waste. You think her daughter wants to discover that her mom was pressured out of something that comforted her as she was struggling, so she could get a pair of earrings? Not the a-hole, and I'd tell sister, okay, I'm changing the will. You get nothing. Picking over my bones while I'm still using them is some rude nonsense. If I do decide to give the earrings to someone, they will go to my daughter. Either way, you aren't getting anything. This reminds me of the argument I use with my kid. Kid asks if he can have 4 cookies. I say no, he can have 2. He whines and wants 3. I say it can be 0. He then happily agrees to 2.